What's up, everybody? I am Jamison Michael. This is Jamie Reviews, and today I am going to give you my review on the latest and greatest from Nike, the Nike Vaporfly 4% Flyknit. So typically running shoes really don't get that much hype, but after last year's Breaking 2 series of shoes, the hype was real. Nike athletes have had countless fast performances wearing various versions of the Vaporfly, and it only became more real once Nike claimed the official marathon record with that shoe, which makes me even more excited to try this year's model. And well, let's stop wasting time and get right into the shoe. So as the name says, this is the Flyknit version of the Vaporfly. Last year's mesh version was very light and simple, and I liked it. The Flyknit version maintains pretty much the same idea. It is very breathable and has a seamless, sleek feel. There are no overlays or cages, just different weaves of knit providing the structure throughout the shoe. Compared to last year's model, the fit was a bit different. While the Flyknit does stretch over time, this version felt a bit narrow and tighter out of the box. It took a few runs to finally break it in. Once that happened, the feel of the shoe started to feel more familiar, given the shoe is still fairly simple by design. Nike tried to provide a bit more structure in the heel. The heel support felt just a tad more stiff compared to last year's shoe, and it was comfortable as long as I was wearing socks with a higher heel collar. The Flyknit material has a bit more rigid feel to it compared to last year's mesh. Other than that, it's Flyknit. I like the way it looks, I like how breathable it is, and I like how it's simple. Now the midsole setup is pretty much the same as last year's shoe. You got a ZoomX midsole that provides a light, bouncy, plush cushioning. Now I have tried tons of shoes and there's nothing quite like ZoomX. There's close, but not quite the same. A good midfoot cushioning is something I can appreciate in any shoe. In the Vaporfly, it has you covered. But what makes the ride of the shoe stand out is the full-length carbon fiber plate. Just like last year's shoe, it essentially propels you forward. It's one of those shoes that once you get momentum going, it's almost like having cruise control. Maintaining speed is something that I find the shoe helps me with compared to other racing style shoes. It's part of what makes the shoe what it is. But I will say it is not the most natural feeling ride. Most shoes don't have carbon fiber plates. In this shoe, it almost gives the shoe a rocker feel, kinda like a Hoka. Now I enjoy the ride, but I can see that it won't be for everybody. So the outsole is pretty much the same as last year's. You got a thin layer of rubber on the front of the shoe with a little bit on the heel. And as you can see, the middle of the shoe is exposed. The goal of this is to keep the weight down. And I think for this kind of shoe, the rubber is where it needs to be. Now traction wise, it does great on dry road-like surfaces. But on wet areas, it's kinda just there. It won't help you much. Flexibility wise, the shoe is still kinda stiff. But once again, you have a carbon fiber plate in there. So the overall shoe is just a Flyknit upgrade, and pretty much the same. Yeah, for the most part, but as much as I enjoy the hype, I cannot say that it's all peaches and cream. So while the Flyknit is a cool upgrade, I would say that it has a bit too much give in areas. One of those areas is around the midfoot. The lateral stability is not great, but hey, it's a racing shoe, it's light, and I get it. But where the issue lies is within the base of the shoe. Now the midfoot base of the shoe is really narrow, and while running, the second the Flyknit started to give, my foot essentially was leading off the footbed. And I say that to say this shoe is not wide foot friendly. And even if you have a narrow foot, you better be a very efficient runner in your foot strike. Otherwise, this may cause issues in the later miles. Now the shoe itself is very cool, but the tweaks in the upper for me ended up being more of annoyances than proper upgrades. In all fairness, this shoe was built with the elite athlete in mind, or for serious runners who are looking for that edge on race day. For $250 US, and maybe even more on the resale market, is the shoe worth it? Well, if you're one of those efficient, fast runners and don't mind the price tag, then I say yes, go for it. But I can't honestly say that it'd be worth for your typical decent runner to go out of their way to get it. I think the Vaporfly has great things going for it, but for me, it's not quite worth the investment. The ZoomX durability for me last year wasn't great. I got about 1 mile per $1. So for most people, it's going to be a race day shoe or something you can break out for a faster workout. If anything, I think the upgrades that were made in the Zoomfly Flyknit may be the way to go for most people, but that's just my opinion. Now Nike promotes how the shoe increases running efficiency by up to 4%. And well, I think most people will benefit more by training 4% smarter.
Test your might.
Well guys, that is my review. As always, I try to keep it as honest as possible, but please be sure to comment back your experiences in this year's shoe. I have a few friends that got the shoe early with me and they love it. So if you get a chance to try it, let me know how you feel about it. And while you're here, please smash that like button. Just kidding guys, don't smash it, just click it once. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and as always, stay in school, don't do drugs, and if you can, keep it tight.